name is Marisa Stone with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit, where you get to learn all the systems that our speakers use to get stuff done. And I am super, super excited today to have Katherine Dean with us. She is going to talk all about how money can be your tool for freedom, which is like everybody's goal, right? Katherine is known as the financial empowerment woman because her experience in the financial industry has helped hundreds of business owners, individuals, couples, and women create their path to wealth. She's the founder of Living Your Worth, Inc. and the Wealth to Freedom Formula program. She spent 19 years guiding people on their financial freedom path. She has her own target retirement plan and even receives passive income from investment real estate. Katherine's philosophy is that you'll use your vision for the future along with where you are right now to be empowered in your career, your finances, and gain that financial confidence that you dream about. Katherine, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Marisa. I cannot wait to share with you today. I'm so excited to be here and on this summit. You've done a fantastic job.
Yay,
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. What a great intro too. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. No, I'm super excited to talk all about money because a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, they really struggle with this, right? I mean, we're in whatever job we have, whatever we're doing that so that we can provide for our families, provide for ourselves, and create financial freedom. But so many people don't really understand all the detail with regard to managing your money and dealing with your money. So I'm super excited to have you here to kind of, shed some light on some of the stuff that we need to know in order to take control of our finances. So that's awesome. So you mentioned that money can be our tool to freedom. How exactly does that work?
Okay, I'll give you a little snippet about what I mean by tool for freedom. First off, freedom in the respect of no more stress or anxiety when you actually understand how money works and have money, and money will be working for you. So right there, one of the big things I like to talk about, 60% of our daily energy is from the mind. And when you're stressed out and you're anxious and those bills come in and you're not sure how you're going to manage them, just having peace of mind with your finances is a huge catalyst to having freedom.
Right.
But there's also the fabulous component of passive income and how that can cause a lot of time freedom and freedom in your life to do what you want to be doing. Yeah. And what I mean by that is passive income, for some of our audience that might not know, is money that you collect on an annual or on a monthly basis that you're actually not working for. Yeah. So especially in the realm of entrepreneurs, and we're our biggest asset. And when money starts working for you and you don't have to be your biggest asset, that's when you really get tremendous financial freedom. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that passive income is kind of that money you make while you're sleeping.
Exactly. So you can have peace of mind and you can have a stress-free life about your finances, for sure.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So let's talk for a minute about money mindset. I've heard this term thrown around a lot. Can you tell us what exactly is a money mindset?
Yes. Money mindset. Over the 19 years in this industry, I have found, and it's, unfortunately, we're not taught in school really about money and how money can work for you versus you having to work for money. And when it comes to a money mindset, to have a powerful money mindset about creating wealth and not being a victim to money, just use it. And what I always love to say when I work with my clients is money is a tool for freedom. So really it's a tool. It's not something that you want to despise or you want to hate or possibly have that love-hate relationship. You really want to understand in your head that money is really just an access to your freedom.
Right.
And, we are a money society, a money world. So we need it. So we can't pretend and put our heads in the sand that we don't need it. But how do you actually have the mindset to look at money and say, you know what, you're just a tool for me to do this or to buy that piece of real estate. So that's what I mean by financial and money mindset.
And you may not necessarily be on the side that you have a love-hate relationship with it. You may be very nonchalant about it. Like you don't really, you got your head buried in the sand. You don't really stop to look at it and see what's happening with it,
Correct.
So yeah, so I guess that's the other. Okay, so let's apply this to entrepreneurship. Why should entrepreneurs have a money mindset?
Well, first off, one of my big things I say, because I do work with a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs, one of the big things with when you have a really abundant and positive financial mindset, what happens is you start to increase the value of your company, increase the value of your worth. Therefore, you have healthier family finances, a healthier business financial, let's say, statement or net worth statement. Right. And overall, you just have a positive relationship with money. So it's interesting. You just said about head in the sand. We talk about financial archetypes. That's something that I talk about in my program. And what I would consider the innocent financial archetype. Is somebody who is maybe very nonchalant or doesn't even realize there's a relationship with money. And that relationship can be so imperative to the success of your business and success of your relationships in your family.
Right. Yeah. So what are some ways, and this may be something that we talk about in the second interview, and feel free to tell me if this is more of a deeper dive, how do you create this money mindset that you should have in order to run your business?
Okay. We can get into it a deeper dive, but I'll kind of do a little surface here.
Okay.
One thing is definitely having your goals for the year. So, put aside, maybe it's a Saturday or a full day where if you're a single business owner, or if there's a few business owners, and you really have what your goals are for the following year. And what you do is, okay, so let's say you want $1 million in revenue, and you actually work backwards from that. Versus just saying, oh, I want $1 million, but you actually don't have a plan to get there. But we can get a little more into that when we in the second interview.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a plan, though. There is actually a strategy to creating this money mindset.
Yes, definitely.
So let's dive into a couple of other terms that I know we're going to need throughout this interview. One of the things that you talk about is a wealth creator. Can you tell me what that is?
I get excited about that because that is what I talk about my tribe. And one thing, and I tend to tell a lot of people this, not just people I work with, but the wealth creator is having an abundant life, not just, money isn't the be all or end all, but it certainly makes life easier, right? So when you're a wealth creator, you are creating your future. You're not a victim to your future, or you're not kind of held back by certain thoughts in your head. So being the wealth creator is starting to get rid of that debt that may not necessarily be healthy debt. And we can talk about that in the second interview too, and activating savings and retirement, and knowing that your plan for the future and right now is actually active and in play. Versus that one day, maybe I'll get to that goal.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my wealth creator tribe, is to hold that space for people as they're pulling themselves through everything I just mentioned.
Very nice. Very nice. One of the things we mentioned in one of the other interviews is that there are 7 days in a week and none of them begin with some.
Yeah.
So don't plan on that day because it doesn't exist,
True.
So let's talk a little bit about wealth building, okay? And you may have alluded to some of this already, but what exactly is wealth building?
Wealth building is, first off, and again, we'll really dive into this later.
Yeah.
But wealth building is having that money that's working for you, that you are not stressed about. So it's not when your monthly bills come in, you're like, yeah, I got this month. Wow, this is working. I have some funds going here and going there, and that's building. And you, because things are building, it's positive reinforcement for, holy crap, I actually got control of this now. And I'm moving forward. And again, no education. We get out of college with tons of debt and with a credit card in our hand, and nobody says, oh, you want to pay that off? No, the credit card companies want to stay rich, right? So nobody really shows you that wealth building is, and now again, credit, everybody has some sort of debt.
Right.
So I'm not saying debt is the most awful thing. What I'm saying is there are ways to utilize debt while you're wealth creating and wealth building. And wealth building is really seeing your, how do I want to say that? Seeing your bottom line or your cash flows increase on I say monthly. We do a check monthly what am I trying to say? Monthly check-in. Sorry about that.
Right.
And really to see where you're going and are you moving more towards positive? Okay, so there was a setback. The car broke down this month and you need to put $2,000 into it or whatever.
Right.
But you know what? When that $2,000 expense comes up, guess what? You're prepared for that versus being unprepared. And that's really what wealth building is all about. It's all about the mindset and also being in action to meet your goals.
Yeah. And I could also see, as an entrepreneur, right? Technology expenses come up. I mean, all sorts of expenses, your computer crashes, this breaks, whatever that if you don't have a plan for those things, they can really be detrimental for you, in the midst of trying to run your business. So
for sure.
Of having that nest egg and having that cushion.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah. So you talk you talk a lot about wealth building habits, and this may be a deeper dive question. I know that that some of these questions are definitely much more for the next interview. But what are some of those wealth building habits that we really should be looking into and adopting ourselves?
Terrific. One, which I briefly just mentioned, is a net worth statement. And really knowing what your debt and liabilities are versus what your assets are, and understanding where you stand. I, from my own experience, this is why I got so passionate about working with entrepreneurs and business owners, was because not only do you have, you're basically on call 24/7, right? You want to build your business and that's all you think about and you're so passionate about it, which is phenomenal, which is what, gives us such a great access to do what we do. However, on the flip side, we may not be checking in monthly, kind of like the same thing with self-care. If you let that go, something else is going to fall apart. So, really tips and tools of monthly check-in. That's one of my biggest things. Understand where your debt is. Is there any way to pay it off sooner? Is there different ways to manage your debt? I get deep dive with that with clients. That's my first, what's your top of mind financial problem that you're thinking about? And usually that's what comes up, or I want my business to expand and I'm not quite sure what's holding me back. And then we get into the whole financial mindset of it.
Right.
Those are some quick tips. And journaling. Journal when you are financially stressed. Journal why you're financially stressed and then figure out a solution to solve that issue.
So it's really creating a record of what's going on so that you can then go back and address that issue or problem when you're a little more in control.
When you're flipping off the handle, like when your bills all come in and it's the first of the month and you're not quite sure where you're at, just take a step back and realize there are so many people that are going through, especially entrepreneurs, because you have uneven cash flows.
Right.
And, just making sure, okay, this is what it's going to cost me for the most part to run my business. Obviously, if you're first year, it's going to be a little harder.
Right.
But knowing what you need, and maybe set aside 50% of that for January 1st so that you have up till June, you're ready to go.
Right.
Yeah. And then because we know, between online subscriptions and everything you need to run a business, you're pretty much going to know what it's going to cost unless you do some other marketing things that you're not aware of what the costs are going to be.
Right. And in my world, systems, right? You're nickel and dime to death with regard to systems. I'm not even kidding. Like you really, one of the factors in deciding what system you're going to use is always cost, because subscriptions and technology and all this stuff costs money. And so you really do have to have a handle on those things. So
it adds up very quickly, as you know.
Yeah, totally. So let's talk a little bit about some ways in which entrepreneurs can eliminate some of their debt. I know, having an idea of where that debt is like step one, right? But what are some ways that I can eliminate it?
Okay. Again, credit cards, if you're holding on to really high interest credit card debt, you want to have a plan to get rid of that. And sometimes it might take 2-3 years, but believe me, you will thank your future self in 2 to 3 years.
Right.
So that's one big thing. The next big thing is find out how you can expand your income.
Right.
Because that will also go towards paying yourself first. And I'm not saying work harder, I'm saying work smarter.
Right.
So if it's collaborating with people, if it's doing just one extra event that's going to bring in that extra money, instead of putting it towards something else, put it towards your future financial, independence.
Right.
And yeah, and put, you're investing in yourself, but you're investing in your future self. And I'm telling you, your future self will thank you.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. So, so I know that we are coming to the end of this interview.
Oh,
no. I feel like we haven't spent enough time talking about this.
For sure.
But what else do we need to know with regard to making money our tool for freedom?
One of the big things you said before is not really ignoring it, understanding that, listen, money's there. Money can be really powerful. You can love money. One of the big dreams of mine is to write For the Love of Money, so that people understand that, yes, it's here to stay. We can't avoid it. And how do you just have a healthier relationship? How do you empower your finances? Which also, again, remember, it empowers you, it empowers your family, it empowers your employees. Your kids, if you have kids, will grow up with a more empowered sense of what money does for you. Mm-hmm. And if you can really just take on that relationship with money and understand that you just have to put some energy towards it. And once you're on a path, the path is really easy. Yeah. Easy peasy steps. It's just one step at a time to get to the final goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you mentioned earlier that it all begins with that net worth statement, like really understanding where you stand, at the beginning of each month. And I would assume that also includes at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, exactly. That goal setting for the year is so important.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, I know we're at the end of this video, but before we let you go, how can people reach out to you if they want to work with you, if they want to take advantage of some of your resources or access your program? How can they reach out to you?
Awesome. Well, I know there's going to be links. So if you guys want to click on some links, right down below. So, and then also you can always email me, Katherine at wealthtofreedomformula.com. Nice. And you can find me on Facebook Wealth to Freedom. And just keep in the conversation, just keep in the conversation of money, because the more we avoid it, the more it becomes, this blister that won't go away. So really being empowered with money is obviously, I'm so passionate about it. I've created my life around it to help other people. So that's what I would suggest, is just stay in the conversation.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Katherine, for sharing all this great information with us. I'm super excited to get back into this with you. Folks, definitely take advantage. Click on the link below. Take advantage of those resources that Katherine is sharing with you. Get control of your own finances so that the health of your business really takes an upward turn and you actually are controlling your financial freedom. For those of you that are part of the All Access Pass, stick around, because we're going to dive much deeper with Katherine in just a few minutes into some of the concepts that we've talked about in this interview. And I am so very excited that you are part of the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit. Katherine, thanks so much once again. Guys, we will see you in the next interview. Bye, everyone.
Bye.